and then you get a few girls that are there for your, for the clout and there for your resources. And then you throw some money at them in exchange for some sex. You do that. Then you claim that you're picking these girls up and you're expert with women. That's when I have to shake my head at you. Okay, you're not expert with women. All right, you have no idea. So it's like controversial. Some people say, no, you can't, don't ever pay for chicks, right? And some are like, well, yeah, who cares, right? Now, here's the thing. My thing is just be real. All right. If if you're just like, screw it, and you pay some hot girl or whatever for your company or something, that's fine. But don't go on like, don't be somebody who claims to be, let's say, this expert dating coach, and then you're paying for vagina, all right? You're paying for hot girls, and then you're claiming like these are your girls, or you're claiming and acting like you picked up these girls, or you're going to advise guys on pickup game and tell guys, oh, don't get on these sites, or don't pay for hookers. That's simpish. Yet then you're paying for it. You see, that's where I have an issue. If you're not congruent with yourself and what you present, then we got a problem. But I mean, if a dude's rolling in cash and he pays some Instagram model for her company, pays some girl off of seeking arrangements for her company or whatever, especially let's say he's a 60-year-old guy, male multi-millionaire, pays some 25-year-old, who cares? I don't care about that. Now, I would say that's not a good way to go, and I'll explain why. I would say, except for maybe like on a one-off, because you're on vacation, you're screwing around, you know what I mean? Maybe you got a girlfriend or a couple girlfriends with you. You have a couple strippers come back to a room, and you just throw them some cash, and everyone gets naked. Like crazy stuff that can happen, right? If you're into some crazy scenes and a little bit less conservative. I'm not gonna say that that's the biggest problem in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I understand. All right. And that's fine. You do you. Just don't, don't act like you picked those girls up with your expert game and skills and game when really you threw them some money. You know what I mean? If you're bringing a girl on your, picking her up in your rented supercar or something, when you visit some, like say visit Miami or LA or some city, you're blowing massive dollars at the club with, maybe getting a table and stuff like that. And then you get a few girls that are there for your, for the clout and there for your resources. And then you throw some money at them in exchange for some sex. You do that. Then you claim that you're picking these girls up and you're expert with women. That's when I have to shake my head at you. Okay, you're not expert with women. All right, you have no idea. And there are guys in middle America who like this, how I came up, middle America, games on hard mode, because you have feminist type, strong, independent women who, well, actually, they're a little bit easier to sleep with than some of the we'll say non-westernized women. Sometimes they're easier, but much harder to, get into any sort of relationship or any of that stuff. And sometimes harder to pick up too, depending on what is going on and what area you're in. I mean, you can pick up hot girls. That's a whole nother session for us to do or talk about, but you can pick up hot girls like in middle America who they're wearing their Bass Pro hat, you know what I mean? A pair of leggings, right? North Face sweatshirt or whatever. And when their clothes are off, they look as hot, if not hotter, than some of the girls who are doing what you call it, OnlyFans, and have their TikTok and have dudes simping on them for money. Like there's girls in middle America that they're not on the internet and they look better than these Miami chicks with Brazilian butt lifts, and you can just run that and running game on those girls and getting that girl to want to sleep with you or be with you, be a return customer, all that stuff. That's game. All right. Throwing money at girls isn't necessarily game. That's just throwing money at girls. Right. And so don't throw money at girls and then turn around and tell me you got game. All right. What you have is resources, which is great. And you have girls around you, which is great. And I'm not, going to downplay that. I'm not going to like disrespect you for having girls around you and having money. And for you to even paying for those girls, I'm not going to even disrespect that. Just don't act like you have this superior ability with women and these seduction powers when you really have status and clout for the clout chasers and resources to provide for experiences and money to throw on their bank account. That's not exactly game. Okay. That's not exactly what most people think about when they're thinking about picking up on girls. Let's talk about the idea of paying for women as a means of getting your sexual needs met. This is something I don't recommend. Okay. Again, I'm not shaming a guy on a one-off. All right. I don't care about that. But if a guy is basically paying for a girl to be his girlfriend, like a sugar baby situation, or if a guy is paying for hookers or paying for women off of websites a couple times a month or whatever, just to get that's his sexual needs, I would say no. Okay, I would say that's a bad idea. And here's why it's a bad idea. You're not experiencing genuine desire from that girl. And that is ultimately what men want. Now, you may think to yourself, well, really, I just want to get laid. When you're in a scarcity mindset and you have scarcity with women, yes, you just want to get laid by pretty girls. You want pretty girls to touch your pee-pee. I get it. But once you pass that phase and you can get girls and have women to touch your pee-pee, then it becomes something more than that. And one thing that guys really want is genuine desire. And part of the reason why you can go down there's other reasons too. So this isn't the only reason, but part of the reason why guys can go down a rabbit hole of addiction with pornography is because they're getting the reward of sex without the genuine desire. And so they are ultimately not satisfied. Okay. And so they end up seeking more and more of that reward of sex from that source, in that case being pornography. And then the pornography gets weirder and weirder with what they're watching, and it gets longer and longer time spent online doing that. And that becomes the focus then of getting their reproductive needs met. Okay. Reproductive needs are instinctual. It's something that every man has an instinctual need. And so when that becomes the route for it, that ends up replacing any kind of healthy relationship that you would have with women. And that's a problem, right? That's why porn addiction is a problem. I would say too, paying for women like sugar baby things or seeking arrangements or whatever is a bad idea for that reason too. Again, I'm not judging a guy on a one-off, okay, or at a party or at some situation, but if that's the primary means that he is executing to get his reproductive needs met, then he is going down the wrong path, because ultimately what he wants is genuine desire. It's like the guy who shows up at the strip club and then he ends up habitually showing up there, and then some girl gives him a lap dance and gives him some attention, and he pays her a bunch of money, and then he thinks and feels like this girl really likes him. And then she's like, oh, when am I going to see you again? Blah, blah. And she runs her stripper game on him. Because remember, I used to run strippers. So I know the game that strippers run on their marks. All right. I was the guy that was having sex with them. And then they were the girls that were running these guys they weren't having sex with and just taking their money. And they make these dudes feel like they're desired. They give them the gift of the feeling of genuine desire without actually desiring them in exchange for money. And then that becomes a replacement for that guy, okay, instead of seeking out regular relationships with women. So it's like that. Using and paying for girls for sex is basically that game, except for now you're taking a step further, you're spending more money usually, and you're getting sex out of it. So at least, okay, you're getting sex out of it, but who cares, right? You're still simping for a girl, right? And it's not a healthy relationship or exchange, and she doesn't really genuinely desire you. So I do not recommend paying for sex, paying for a sugar baby, and all that stuff. That's not what I recommend, because you're basically getting into a transactional relationship, and maybe it's safer than marrying some girl who sees you transactionally and then she takes you for all your money, right? But you're basically feeding your reproductive needs that way, which then can turn into kind of an addiction. So yeah, dude. So I don't recommend that. I recommend learning game and taking girls on real dates. Okay. Where you're not paying for them for an exchange of sex. They genuinely desire you.